Hello, explorers, and welcome to another episode of Explore the Force. I'm currently in the depths of a hurricane in Belize, recording. As always, I'm joined by someone as blue as Thorn himself. It's Taylor.
Hey
And with a man with more Funkos than the Jedi, current Jedis at the minute, it's Brandalorian.
Yeah.
What up? A man with a bigger beard than Balon himself, it's Jimmy.
Howdy.
Size doesn't matter.
Exactly not, no. So, how's everyone's weeks been? Let's start with you, Jimmy. How's your week been?
Good. It was my first kind of down week. I get, I coach year round. I get kind of this week off, and then this week coming up, I have all off. I have no responsibilities after school. It's the 1 week. It's the 1 week out of the entire year that I don't have responsibilities. So I'm looking forward to that. Last week we had our banquet for cross country, wrapped up a good season. So it was really fun. Enjoyed it.
What about you, Taylor?
It's been very wet over here in Canada, over in BC. I work outside because I'm the gardener at the Greater Vancouver Zoo, and I was out in the rain so bad yesterday. I was on Camino, and it was me standing there, and it was everyone like, I'm reporting back from this terrible storm planet. That's pretty much how I've been all week, but it's been good.
Nice. And what about you, Brando?
Man, good week. Weather's been up and down a little bit in Kansas, but had a good work week. Other than that, just been awesome. Hanging out.
Appreciate you giving the time for us yet again.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me on once again.
Jack, how's your week going?
Like I say, we're in the midst of a hurricane at the minute. So we haven't really been able to do anything. It's just been absolutely wrecking it down there. I did go snorkeling yesterday in the sea, which was an experience. And it was absolutely hammering it down. So, yeah, that was a good experience. So, Force Encounters, I'll start us off. Always give it to someone that's going to start us off this week. So this week then, we had some people move into the accommodation where I'm stopping, and they're all band members. And as we were there one of the nights just preparing some stuff, I started hearing them practice a couple of their tunes for some of their parades that they've got coming up. And one of them started playing Star Wars Imperial March. Instantly at his door. Hello there. So we might have a new follower on a podcast. Big shout out to James, one of the fellow bandies. He's still currently out here as well, suffering with the hurricane. So yeah, even in Belize, Star Wars follows me.
All right.
Yes. Well, I'll go next. I don't have a really big one, but I was talking with my boss at the zoo, and we'll say his name is Jerry. So every week, Jerry's kind of been giving me these little Star Wars quotes and asking me Star Wars stuff, and it always puts a huge smile on my face. And this week, I was about to leave, and I said, "Oh, well, I hope we get to move into this suite, etc." Because there's a suite at the zoo that I really want to move into. Yes, I would love to live at the zoo. And I said, but I guess it's just a hope. And Jerry says, I guess you could say it's a new hope. And he just leaves the room. I'm like, yes,
Jerry.
This is awesome. I love my job. So,
I'm more interested to why his code name's Jerry.
If you're listening. I don't want to give his real name. I don't want to get fired. Come on. Small one. But you got to enjoy the little things, the little Force encounters.
Yeah, those are good. What about you, Brandon? You have a Force encounter this week?
Man, so I'm actually a manager at a local steakhouse here in Salina, and
yum.
some of my servers, especially the new younger ones, they're just so like, oh my God, I forgot to go to this table and I have to get there. And the main thing I tell them all is patience, young one, patience. And, that's what, because I was a server and a bartender at the restaurant for 3 years. So, getting pushed up into management, I can really force all these kids to just settle down. And that's how, serving and all that comes to place, is just being patient. If you guys know what that's like, it's just be patient.
Oh, yeah, I work with
otherwise
teenagers every day.
Feel your stress, yeah.
Exactly.
I know what you're talking about, Brandon. It's my daily. My job to deal with these impatient students.
Right.
I guess mine's pretty. Like I don't have anything major. I got to have a good one. I got to have a conversation with Hank the Tank today about our main show topic. So that'll be coming up later on. So that's always something I really look forward to. And he and I got to talk a little bit afterwards, and we've decided what shows we're going to watch when I get home to Pennsylvania together. So that's pretty exciting.
Oh.
Then I just kind of caught up on some comics and things like that. I went back. I must have forgotten to read The Eye of the Storm Part 2 because of all this stuff with Tales of Light and Life and all these different things were happening in that book. And I'm like, I don't remember them doing any of this stuff in The Fallen Star. So I went back and it was all in the comics. So I was
Really?
like, whoa, like that's like an important comic to have read. There's just a 2-parter, Eye of the Storm. If you haven't read it, you should.
Yeah.
It kind of sums things up pretty well. But yeah, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm
Good week.
rereading those ones again because they make so much more sense now that I'm reading Phase 1 books.
Sure they do.
Well, because my husband bought me like the first volume of it, and I'm like, oh, this isn't the phase of High Republic I'm reading right now, but I'll read them. And he's like, what the heck? Ugh. So I'm like, okay, well, I'll read it anyways while I'm reading Phase 2. So now I'm rereading it because it just makes so much sense. And I'm like falling in love with Vernestra Rowe, and yeah, I'm falling in love with these new characters.
Absolutely.
She's awesome. Oh my gosh.
Nice. So, to that end then, let's head over to Batu and see what news is coming out of Batu.
Star Wars Young Jedi Adventures, the Lucasfilm animated series for preschool audiences, has been honored with 5 nominations in the 2nd Annual Children's and Family Emmy Awards, including Outstanding Preschool Animated Series, set 200 years before Star Wars The Phantom Menace. The Young Jedi Adventures follow young Jedis as they study the ways of the Force, explore the galaxy, help citizens and creatures in need, and learn valuable skills needed to become a Jedi along the way. Check out the full list of nominations. 1. Outstanding Preschool Animated Series. 2. Outstanding Music Direction and Composition for an Animated Program. 3. Outstanding Main Title. 4. Outstanding Editing for a Preschool Animated Program. 5. Outstanding sound mixing and sound editing for a preschool animated program. And there's actually more, but I'll let you guys check those out. Yes, I just read a whole novel, but this show is actually really good. And I know you guys know that I watch it and I'm an advocate for it, but you have to watch it. And even if you're not a parent, like just throw it on in the background because there's so many little Easter eggs in there, and I love it. And now we know that we're getting some new ones that have some characters from the actual High Republic Phase 1 books, which is like super exciting. So
that
it all entwines.
Starts this week.
Yeah,
I think the new shows start this week. I think it's either this week or next week, and they have all those characters from the High Republic coming in from all the books, so that's kind of cool. So
yeah, but it's like also sad for the parents because I'm like, oh my god, I know what happens to those characters. Like, I just won't tell my kid. Oh yeah, you like Loden? A lot of people like Loden.
Nice. And speaking of Old Republic, in less than 10 days' time, on November the 14th, Phase 3 kicks off. So we've had some reviews already starting to come in, and they are all overwhelmingly positive. Nate Manning from StarWarsNews.net.com says that The Eye of Darkness is the only second book in the High Republic series that he couldn't put down. He describes it as follows. To summarise this book as succinctly as possible, this is a Cold War tale disguised as the closest thing we've gotten to the themes that drape projects like Andor and Rogue One. The core struggle is a battle between impending dread and the fight for hope. Who blinks first? How far are you willing to go? And what are you willing to lose? Those are the questions that make the reading so compelling. Interesting stuff. Less than 10 days. I believe the first comic's out this week, isn't it, Jimmy? Wednesday?
Yeah, it'll come out Wednesday. The first part of the New High Republic comes out, and then there has been some things like sprinkled in there with the Shadow of Starlight Beacon comics come out, and then of course we'll have a story down here below about some other things. But yeah, the 14th will be the books, and then on this week will be the comics. So I'm pretty excited for Wednesday to roll around.
I know. I think I have like 3 books coming.
Yeah, there's quite a bit. More news, great news too, is that the writers for the Acolyte episodes have been released, and so we're going to kind of tear through these. And there's some strong writers in here. It's kind of exciting too, and I also like the fact that it's not just one person, so we're getting an array of people. But
Yeah.
episode 1, Leslie Headland, who's also the showrunner, she wrote for The Bachelorette, Sleeping with Other People, and Russian Doll. Acolyte episode 2 has 2 writers, Jason Milcliffe. I wrote with Heathers and Charmaine DeGrate. House of Dragons. So that's pretty exciting. House of Dragons. Episode 3, Jasmine Florney, part of a group that wrote with Heathers, Truth Be Told, and Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Eileen Shim, House of the Dragon. So we got episode 4. We got Claire Keachel and Kor Adana. They sound like Star Wars names. The OA, Watchmen, Mr. Robot, Dune, and the Sisterhood. And then, of course, we have episode 5, and they have this Kor Adana wrote 4 and 5, so there'll be some continuity there. Mr. Robot, Dune, Sisterhood, like I said. Cameron Squires with WandaVision.
Nice.
Episode 6, Jason Milcalf again with from Heathers. Jocelyn Bio, Russian Dolls. Episode 7, Charmaine DeGrate again from the House of Dragons. Jen Richards and Jasmine Florney. So there's 3 writers from that. Jen was blind spotting Better Things in Her Story. And then the final episode was written by Jason Micallef again. I'm sure we'll find out how to really pronounce their names as we go along. But this is pretty exciting stuff. House of the Dragons, Marvel. You got Mr. Robot was a highly acclaimed series. I've never watched it. That's where, was it Remy Malky? What's that actor's name? I can't even think of him right now, but he's pretty big. He got his start there. But all these shows, Dune, Sisterhood, all that stuff, that's pretty exciting to have that kind of talent writing.
Yeah, it's a good lineup of directors.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or I guess writers, I should say. But, they're helping. But, yeah, no, that's awesome. Next up, it's a new life for Joss and Pika Adrin. The former contractors helped build the Starlight Beacon and bravely helped in the fallout from its destruction. Now, members of the Republic Defense Corps, the husband and wife team must face real galactic threats. Because apparently that wasn't a real threat before. In StarWars.com's exclusive excerpt of No Big Deal by Lydia Kang, an original Star Wars High Republic short story included in the Star Wars Insider number 222, we find the duo headed for a meeting on their new next adventure.
I actually
that
talked.
Was a cool team. Yeah,
we talked with Lydia a bit on Instagram Threads this week. I don't know why that wasn't my Force encounter, but we reached out to her, and I was like, I was reading some of these names, like, how do you come up with these names? And her message was, she's always really polite, and she's responded to us quite often. But she said that sometimes she just smashes some names together, see what shakes out. Some of these names obviously are given to her, from other writers and things like that.
Yeah.
But that was pretty cool to hear from the writer herself. And I messed up and didn't get it pre-ordered, but I'll have it Wednesday, and I'll dive into that story. So
awesome. And you're going to send it to me.
All right, and then we also have Sean Levy is supposedly getting his own movie to direct, and Kathleen Kennedy to let him go ahead and do whatever he wants. So, with some of the rumors, we are actually supposed to get a Kylo Ren movie before the events of The Force Awakens. And if you guys wanted to know a little bit more about that, y'all can go check my YouTube channel at Clan Brandalorian, and I kind of dive into it. Kind of a little quick video, but some juicy details in there.
Yeah, I just watched that episode. I'm very fired up. I'm not something I thought I wanted, Brandon, but once I heard you describing it and the possibilities of it, ones I never thought of, I was like, I'd be down for that.
Oh yeah,
go check out his channel. So I don't know, it's not that long of a video, right? 3-4 minutes long, probably. Yeah,
What?
3 minutes.
I'm sorry,
check
I
it
haven't
out.
watched it
Yeah.
yet. I'm gonna go check it out right after this.
So. All right. All right, so we are on to our main topic today, which is one that we really haven't done anything like this before, but we're going to rank the live-action Star Wars shows that we've got. You know, we just come off of Ahsoka, and we've done tons of stuff with that. That was our very first time as a group to get to do this. I think, Brandon, you were actually on one of our episodes where we ranked some stuff, so we got to talk to you a little bit about that, too, so it works out you're here. And I know you're doing a lot of ranking on your shows. You just did Ships, I think. If I'm not mistaken, so that's pretty cool. But what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to, we decided to break it up as all the Mando seasons count as their own show. And then, of course, we got Kenobi, Book of Boba Fett, Andor, and Ahsoka. So we've kind of all done our homework, and we're each going to say what we rank, and we're going to add them all up, and we'll see how they fall for us. So first up is going to be Taylor.
Okay. My number 7 out of all of the live action Disney series is The Book of Boba Fett. And not because I didn't like it. I really did. And a lot of these had very similar scores because a lot of them go together and they're almost like the same show because it's the same storyline, but you got to look at it like the different directors and there's different composers, different music, different storylines kind of going on in their own show. But yeah, I made Book of Boba Fett my seventh on the scoring list. But yeah.
All right, Jack.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Mandalorian Season 3. I think all the hype around it let it down a little bit for me. At times, some of the episodes were just seemed like filler episodes and didn't really do anything for me, especially one with Jack Black in. But didn't really hit off as big as the other 2 seasons did for me.
And Lizzo.
Yeah.
All right. Brandon, what is your number 7 show?
I'm gonna have to go with Andor.
Andor. Ooh.
This
All right.
this felt spicy writing it down in the 7th spot, but
Yeah.
I got to be honest. I don't want to be fake. I put it at 7. I loved the show, but I have it that low just because, in my opinion, I don't think it is as rewatchable as the others. Choreography is great. The story itself is great. I love Rogue One, so I'm obviously gonna have some love for Andor. But just for me personally, I'm gonna have it just that low, just because of the rewatchability.
All right. Very cool. Was not expecting any of us to have that down there. So that's why we're doing these shows and get this average. I think that's pretty cool. We all come from, we all do different things and like different things. I also, these could be, my 6 and 7 could flip flop either way, but I just went off my gut feeling about how I thought about them. I started writing down positives and negatives, and my negatives is a lot longer than my positives for this first one, and it will be the Book of Boba Fett. There are some things I liked about it, but there's just a laundry list of things. The best episodes were the Mandalorian ones, in my opinion. And again, too, these are our opinions. Like, just, don't come at us for anything. Like, we're not saying that we are right. We're just saying in our opinion. But, cool nostalgia. They had some fun things there with actual characters and actors coming back, playing stuff like that. I have, the music's unremarkable. The speeder bike scene, still, I don't care what anybody says. That speeder bike scene in my book, I just don't even know why it was in there. I mean, you could have had a grandma walking faster than those.
The
Vespas, the space Vespas.
Oh my gosh!
Some cool characters. They didn't really develop them.
Yeah.
For me, I think that they didn't develop the characters at all. He has this great gang by the time it's over, but there wasn't enough to me. Okay, so we have this gang. So, I feel like we need a season 2, but I don't want a season 2. The Hut CGI was bad. I did love seeing Black Chrysanthemum be brought into canon, I guess. And, so, I don't know. I just, Cad Bane was pretty awesome, but there wasn't enough for me to really rate it that high. So, so that falls number 7 for me. All right. So seems like we're all over the map here, which is good. This is what I wanted. I wanted us all to be, not all the same page and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
so our number 6 show, Jack, you're going to start us off. What is your
Book of
number
Boba Fett,
6?
mate. Exact same reasons as you. The Vesper bite thing didn't do it for me. I didn't really like how Boba got out the pit either. To me, that didn't really make sense.
He just burns himself his way
Tusken
out
Raider
and climbs
bit.
out.
That was really good. I like seeing the different side of the Tusken Raiders. I thought it was brilliant. I weren't sold on his tech gang.
Yeah.
There was a few things that didn't quite add up for me. And the fact that the Mandalorian stole the show
like
as
the
well.
mods.
It was just like, he sort of got overshadowed, I think, on his own show.
Yeah, it's true. There's because there's that one episode that's entirely Mandalorian, and it's actually really good. That's the episode where he gets confronted like, "Have you ever taken off your helmet?" And he's like, "Then you're I don't know.
Yeah,
if
no,
we're doing
I agree.
spoilers for this or not, but
I think that. Well, yeah. I mean, you kind of have to expect spoilers through this because we're going to talk about what we did and didn't like. But I also think for that episode, I think that's the best Mando. And we'll get into that in a little bit, but I think that should have been the opening
with that
episode of
big
Mando
circle
season 3.
Civilization. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Brandon, you're number you're number 6, Brandon.
I'm gonna have to go with Jack's last place and put Mando 3 there.
Mando season 3.
There was
all right.
a lot of things that were just so overhyped. I remember the summer before it came out, it was all about the Bo-Katan sitting on the throne and just the gritty image of that. I was like, man, this is crazy. She's gonna be the villain. Maybe she teams up with Moff Gideon and gets him out. And that's what I was waiting for. But, the Lizzo and Jack Black, as much hate as that gets, I just, I can't look at Jack Black and not think that that's Nacho Libre in the Star Wars galaxy. Or Tenacious D. Or, Lizzo shutting out shows and playing the flute. It's just not Star Wars. But I respect them, but it just didn't mesh well. And I feel like I just wanted a little bit more Din Djarin and Grogu because it's the Mandalorian, not the Mandalorians or Mandalorians.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the best thing from it though was we finally got to see how Grogu got away on Night of Order 66, and that was some good closure. It wasn't expected, so I like that. But yeah, that's my number 6.
Yeah, very good. That's also my number 6, Mando season 3. I want to give a shout out. I know we're doing live action shows, but during that time period, I was more excited for Bad Batch season 2, which I thought had more emotion, more stakes in it, than The Mandalorian. And I was kind of baffled by the fact that this animated series, which they have been great.
Yeah,
I was more excited to watch that show, and I got more emotions. I mean, you think about that last episode of The Bad Batch. But for Mando Season 3, I thought the pirates were kind of, they wasted Moff Gideon. You have this big bad guy, and that's how he goes out.
He's not dead. He's coming back.
I like the action. Like I said multiple times, we're talking with other friends and things I love seeing Mandalorians doing Mandalorian stuff. Flying, fighting, training. That was awesome. But man, the use of the volume was horrendous. Jack, and I don't know about you, Jack, but when I watch that training scene, it drives me up a wall. Just having the military background that I do, I'm like, that makes no sense why they're training the way they are. Just randomly doing stuff. I'm like, that's not how a warrior class of people would train in my eyes. I'm an infantry guy, and I don't have the experience that Jack has, but I don't know why it really bothered me. Maybe it's because I am, prior service or whatever. But I don't know. There's some really good stuff that happened in this, but mostly those things for me kind of bothered me. I did like the action. I agree with you, Brandon. I love Jack Black. I didn't know who Lizzo or Izzo or whatever her name is. I don't even know who she was. My wife was like,
Lizzo.
I was like, who? I don't know who that is. But it did kind of seeing Jack Black, I just kept waiting for him to do like a Scooby-Doo ba ba, you know, like just waiting for them to break into some kind of crazy song or
start singing out of the band.
Start singing Peaches or doing something. So it took me out a little bit. And I hate to do that though, because I do love him as an actor and a comedian, and but yeah. So for me, number 6 would definitely be Mando season 3, and then Taylor, to round out our 6th episode or our number 6. What do you got for us?
Yeah, I'm just okay. Mine is Mando season 3 as well, the same as you guys. But I'm gonna point out all the things that I did like in it, unlike you negative guys. I don't not like any of these shows. This is just how I'm able to fit them in of what I like better. But you got to think of the things that we did get in Mando season 3. We got Mando adopting Grogu. So now he officially can train him now. We got the Mythosaur. I'm just going right into spoilers, guys. I'm so sorry. You can hate me later. We've got Bo-Katan's booty all season long, which is amazing.
She works out.
Hey, you know what? I can point it out because I'm the chick here. So
There you
yeah,
go.
she works out.
So yell at Taylor, not us, for that one.
Yeah, the crazy blue-haired chick. And we get Grogu like learning so much more. He can like jump around and do so much. And we get a Mandalorian war. We get to go back to Mandalore. I don't know. There's a lot of good things like Sir Din Grogu. You know. But yeah, I liked it. It's just there's just a few less things that I like than the other series.
All right. Well, that's good. I'm glad that you said some of that stuff, Taylor. I mean, I do like all these shows. Like, there's not one that I'm like, like, just get rid of it. I want to see them all, and I'll take as much Star Wars as possible. But all right, so that rounds out our number 6. All right, so there's round 6 and 7. Book of Boba Fett has been taken off the board, has it?
It might be not. Maybe not.
No, may not. No, maybe not. Okay,
It could be somene's number 1 episode.
Sorry, Mando season 3. Sorry, yeah, that's when the one's been taken off the board. So, all right, Brandon, you're up for your 5th ranked show.
All right, and if you couldn't guess already, it is the Book of Boba Fett. Yeah, so Book of Boba Fett, we've kind of talked over the negative aspects, but if I was to throw the biggest negative thing for me, it was the light skin modded character, like the Scad, I think his name was when they're doing it's the season finale. He does this most unnecessary spin move and shoots, and the cringe. Like I can still remember when I saw that, I just kind of like grabbed my face and kind of put my head down. Like, what are they doing to this guy?
Oh my god! I've seen the video where it's like they do it really fast and he does it like 6 times.
It's so bad. Or like where he does it and he's like spinning off into the galaxy, and it's like, no.
I haven't seen those. Yeah, that was. Yeah.
But what I can pull from the Book of Boba Fett is, other than Obi-Wan, Boba Fett is, interchangeable at the number 1 spot for character for me. So getting that clarity that the way he escaped from the Sarlacc pit, kind of weird. I do agree with that. But just the fact that I'm like, okay, I understand how he gets out now. And the Tusken Raiders, that's really awesome. And the way they bring that in and kind of compare it to like an American Native American tribe, it just really painted the picture very well for what they were trying to do. Cad Bane coming back was kind of cool. And Chrysanthemum was a big favorite. And I love how they added the slashes on his face from a potential fight with Obi-Wan, which I've seen so many speculations with that. And for him to come back is awesome.
That would be so cool.
But and they keep calling back at Jabba the Hutt. I didn't think that they would talk about him much, but they actually talked about him quite a bit. And anything to see my boy Cobb Vanth again, you gotta love it.
Yeah, we forgot about that.
It's definitely and the last thing, Thundercat, the mod parlor guy, that is actually like my top 3 artists of all time. I love his music so much. So just seeing him, his yellow dreads from behind, I was like, that's Thundercat. What's he doing? So I was like, oh, this is great. So that hits home for me. So, but
Very
I
cool.
put it at the 5 spot.
Actual hair. Like that's
Yeah.
how his hair is not as a Star Wars character.
Yeah.
That's so cool that they let him have that. It's like his signature look.
That's awesome. And the one hand he had his fingernails painted. He's one of those guys.
Right.
Well, there you go.
Cool.
It's like an Easter egg for some people, right? We wouldn't have known the difference because we don't listen to him, right?
No, I definitely not. So
yeah.
All right. The more we talk about these things and we all point out things that we like, this makes this harder. I'm like, oh, maybe I should have switched these around. But so my 4 and 5 could flip flop. I have a lot of these, but I'm going to go. Oh, this pains me to say it out loud, and it hurts so much. I'm going to say Kenobi, and this is my own fault. Okay, I am putting this 100% on me. I had expectations for this show, and I don't think they were met. There was a ton of good stuff, and most of the stuff I wrote down is good. His time with Leia. His time with little, Princess Leia was really cool and like emotional, and I thought some of those scenes were the best scenes. Reva, I am not getting into any of that nonsense that was online. I just think the character, I don't care who was playing Reva, I just don't think I thought it was kind of pointless. It was kind of silly. I've seen the actress in other things. I think she is great. And this has nothing to do with any of that negativity that was spewing on the internet about this, because I just think the character, and I am able to separate character from the actual human being. I just thought the character was kind of silly, I guess, for me. The music was a little underwhelming. I expected a little bit more, especially with John Williams coming back with like a Kenobi theme and stuff like that. But I did have a lot of emotions. It did have a ton of emotions. Seeing Vader, seeing him and Anakin together, and then seeing Ewan McGregor back was phenomenal. I loved it. But there are some things that, like, there was, and I also know too, I think some of this was filmed during COVID, obviously, and there was some stuff with the volume that you could tell, and it's like that scene where Leia's running away. I mean, I would have snatched her up in like 2 seconds. Like, she's not getting away from anybody.
She's running
So
so slow.
But there was a lot of good things. I hope we see these characters again. I'd love a season 2. I wish they would take the book Kenobi and turn it into season 2, and it's completely away from anything that's happening, and make that John Miller? I can't think of his name off the top of my head, but the book is really awesome. But so for me, that would be my number 5. It pains me to say it. I did like it. I have rewatched it. That's it. John Jackson Miller. That would be an awesome season 2. The characters in that book. But yeah, for me, number 5, Kenobi. Kind of hurts my heart to say that because I do love the character. He's my favorite Jedi. But So, all right, Taylor, what is your number 5?
My number 5 is going to be Andor, because it just felt the most different from how Star Wars makes me feel. Andor was so different from that. And a lot of people liked it because it was so different. It was like gritty and dark and like real worldly, and like they made the Empire just look like pure evil, But and we got our first swear words in Star Wars live action.
Yeah, we did.
From the guy on the ship. He's like, I won't say. But yeah, I liked Andor. But it's just not I don't know. I feel like you have to be like watching it so fully intent. You miss one thing and you're just like, it's so like there's so much dialogue. There's so much going on. It's very soap opera-y because there's like 2 different storylines going on the whole time. I don't know. Andor is my number 5.
All right. I guess Jack?
Yeah, I'm going to just rub salt in the wound while it's still fresh. I'm going to go for Kenobi. It's just the use of volume is evident quite a lot. And you can tell it was made during COVID to an extent. And what I mean by that is the difficulty that they had. I think if COVID weren't about, so to speak, it would have been a lot better. I don't quite agree with Reva being pointless. I really enjoyed all the characters in Kenobi. The only thing that did it for me was the pace of it. The pace of it was a bit too slow for me. I And the only reason, again, I put it down there is because the ones that I rate above it are, in my opinion, better. That's the only reason, really.
Nice. All right. Yeah. Very cool. All right. So I think that everyone's done their 5th round, correct?
Yep.
Yeah.
Trying to
On
keep
number
track
4
here,
now.
but on to number 4. This is where I started kind of really having a hard time with it, but I have Mando season 2. I love most of Mando season 2. And again, this is coming off my gut. I thought it was a really strong second season. You know, that bar was set so high, I think, with season 1, and for them to come back, we had, Ahsoka showing up, we had Bo-Katan showing up, and of course the ending. So you can't really beat that with that character who comes in and saves the day, and I just. But for me, like with the other shows, I think like Jack said, I just like the other ones a little bit better. I think so.
Mm-hmm.
Mando season 2, which I thought was great. I love the opening, the opening episode. I think it's like the longest Mando episode we got with we had Cobb Vanth and everybody in that.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, for me, my number 4 would be Mando season 2. And Taylor, you are up.
My number 4 is going to be Kenobi, Obi-Wan Kenobi. I really liked it because it was the first time that we were having Hayden back, and it was just super excited, not knowing that we were going to get so freaking much of him in Ahsoka. But I was like, I can literally remember like crying while watching it, like, and I feel like it just had so much more meaning to me because it was these characters and it's this storyline and like like Ewan's like crying as he's fighting, like, I'm sorry, Anakin, I let you down. It's just like, God, my heart is like breaking.
Very
And
emotional.
there is some really good freaky stuff in it. Like as we talked in the Halloween episode, Darth Vader was terrifying in Obi-Wan Kenobi. We get like the path, which is like where all of the force sensitive people are like able to relocate and hide from the Empire. And these are like the really dark ages of Star Wars. It's what is it like? Is it 10 years after
I think something
Revenge of
like that.
Sith?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
and Obi-Wan's like shut himself off from the Force, and he's like, and he's trying to talk to Qui-Gon, and then we do get Qui-Gon, and like we get baby Luke and baby Leia, and like the droids are just great. And yes, you're right. This show suffered a lot because of COVID. It
Yeah, I
did
think
happen
so.
right smack in the worst part of COVID when everyone was just terrified of it. So a lot of this editing and stuff was done at people's homes without their huge like technology to do this stuff in office and with help. And so we do have to think that these people did their absolute best with what they could when the world was going through something terrifying at the time. Right
Yeah.
now we can look back and be like,
Absolutely.
oh my God. But at the time it was very scary. And every time you see like a picture or a cut scene or anything of the directors, all of them are wearing masks. Like even Ewan is like wearing a mask on the set. Like, so, and just to keep going on, this Obi-Wan show has really had it rough going for a long time because it was originally written by someone called Hossein Amini. Sorry if I'm saying the name wrong, but it was meant to be a movie. And then after the failure of Solo, they ended up having somebody completely rewrite it, Joby Harold. And like years gone by, this Obi-Wan series has really taken a hit, and I just think that they've done a pretty good job from what it could have been, I guess, as I
Yeah.
defend it.
I agree.
No, it's yeah. It definitely wasn't.
Yeah.
It didn't have a fair. It wasn't a fair playing field for some of these shows. But
Yeah, exactly.
Jack, number 4.
So, mine's a bit of a contentious one, but I'm going to go with Ahsoka. So, yeah.
Whoa.
Spicy.
And the main reason, is I enjoy the other ones better, for one. I did enjoy seeing all the Rebel stuff. That was fantastic. But for me,
Yeah.
it left me with more questions than answers, and I absolutely hate that. Like, there were things that we were asking, and there were things that got resolved. There was a massive anticlimax. Oh God, his name's popped out there. The death of the Inquisitor or the Sith. Got his name now. Oh my God, Marok. The death of Marok. I was like, you know, there was things that was happening. Like no talk between them about the world between worlds. The fighting was great. The acting was great. There was times where with Ahsoka she did seem a little bit boring when she was talking. But again, this is more to do with the fact that there's more questions than answers, and I just preferred the other stuff.
All right. Wow. Hot take from Jack in his hurricane.
In the hurricane.
And in the hurricane. And Brandon, you got a hot take for us at number 4 on your list.
It's pretty. It's going along with the flow of the show. I got Obi-Wan Kenobi at the number 4 spot. I feel like a lot of the takes on it are. I agree with all those. I went into the show expecting, childhood heroes of mine, getting Hayden back and Ewan back, and the show just made so much more warmth in the heart because I actually got to meet Hayden Christensen. So just knowing that he played in that show and then leading up to Ahsoka, I'm like, man, this is just weird. This is just weird.
You're like, I know that guy.
Yeah, he's back now. He's Anakin again. But I knew that an Inquisitor was going to get a lot of screen time. I just figured it was going to be the Grand Inquisitor. Maybe even Fifth Brother over Reva, but Reva got a little bit more of the light. I know what Disney's direction is kind of spreading the audience a little bit, which I'm all for it. That's really cool. I agree with your takes, Jimmy. But I don't hate on Moses Ingram. She's awesome. I just wasn't expecting her Inquisitor character to have the main spotlight from an Inquisitor. But this show, despite everything, it actually gave me that clarity that Obi-Wan and Vader, despite their differences, over the 10 years, I actually could make more sense of Anakin being Darth Vader. Like, this was the show that kind of put it together for me to be like, oh, okay, Anakin really is the guy in the black armor. And that's what I really appreciated from this show. Despite, it being at the 4 spot, it actually helps me understand Vader even more as a character.
My number 3 is going to be Ahsoka. I thought that Ahsoka was super fun to watch every week. It's like a huge beaming smile on my face. We're super excited to point out all the Rebels references and like the Loth Cats and like the E-Wings. And, it was good. I really, really liked Ahsoka. There's tons of lightsabers. We have space zombies and witches and Jedi training and space suits and space whales and they did show World Between Worlds, but they didn't talk about it a whole bunch. So people who know what World Between Worlds is were like, oh my God, they're in World Between Worlds. But people who don't, it's just like over their heads, right? It's like, oh, where are they? Oh. But yeah, we got to see Genevieve O'Reilly play Mon Mothma again. We got Anthony Daniels as C-3PO. We got Hayden Christensen back. We got a Leia Organa mention. We got Baylan Skoll. There you go, Jimmy.
Good man.
And we got absolutely hilarious David Tennant with Hu Yang, the droid. So, yeah, I really, really liked Ahsoka. I just really like my other picks more, as we just keep saying. But, yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, this is hard to do, so.
It is!
All right, so Jack. Jack, your number 3 show.
It's going to be Andor. And just thinking about it even more, probably the right choice. Like Taylor said, it can be a bit hard to follow if you just switch off for a second. But in terms of story drive, the characters, I thought it's phenomenal. We know where it's heading anyway. It wasn't really
Yeah.
anything that I wasn't a fan of, and that's why I've got my top 3 as it is. You know, I enjoyed pretty much every single episode. The only thing I'd say that it lacked, I'd like to see more of, was probably a few more battles, because it was a little bit starting to go towards a detective crime sort of way.
Yeah.
So the other
spy
so the other two
thriller.
ones are more exciting than this one. But yeah, for me, number 3 is going to be Andor.
All right. Very good. All right, Brandon, you're number 3.
Man, my top 3, it's real sketchy because like we've said, it can just interchange at any given time.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna have to go with Mando season 1.
No, season
Ooh.
1.
What's crazy is I didn't even know about the Mandalorian. I kind of just thought it was going to be like kind of a little sideshow, like 20-minute episode, and then we'll get like another one, later. But it blew me away. It's Star Wars, and you can feel that it's in the same Star Wars universe. It just doesn't take that deep dive into the Skywalker lore. We get to see a lot of alien species, which sometimes we're limited.
So many.
It's crazy, and everything about it looks so good, and there was like nothing that you question, like, oh, that's horrible CGI. Like everything looked great. I think the addition of Grogu, whether that's a child plant or it's just the moneymaker, I mean, yeah, it makes your money, whatever. I got him on my arm right here, but I love the character. It kind of it feels like like your little brother, or if you guys are parents, you can feel that love between a father to a son figure, or a mother to son, mother to daughter. And plus, it's Yoda's species. You know nothing about him or his past, and we get another species, and obviously Yaddle too, but just baby form of Yoda and Yaddle. You can't really ask for much more. And they executed the season good. So
what's funny about that Brando's on about Grogu so much that I've literally just been joined by his favourite food. You can see it.
What is it?
It's
Is
a
it
giant frog.
It's huge.
It's a frog.
Oh my gosh. Don't touch it. It's probably toxic.
Oh my goodness. Wildlife
reporting
show, Jack.
from Dagobah. Yeah. Jack
We got
Hanna.
lizards and frogs.
Hurricane's just dropped in a massive frog.
Nice.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm going to echo exactly what Brandon said, because my answer is exactly the same as Brandon's. Mando season 1. I loved this show. I mean, this kicked off live action Star Wars. This kicked off Disney Plus. I got up at 5 o'clock in the morning to watch it before the servers crashed, so I got to see it twice. I love the music. I love Grogu. The action was so good. I love that. It still has my favorite episode, The Sin. So episode 3, when he goes back in and he just goes, shooting everybody up, and all the Mandalorians come in. Love that episode.
Yeah.
But there's some other things I liked more, like we keep saying. But yeah, the most rewatchable for me is probably season 1 of The Mandalorian. But I loved it. And I also, being in Chicago and hearing Dave and John talk about how excited they were, it was just kind of got that hype, and it lived up to it, I thought. But it is kind of surface level too, like you said, Brandon. It was never did a real deep dive into anything, but it was setting up new sets of characters and new places and new people. So I thought it did a pretty good job there. But yeah, I don't really have a lot of negative things to say about Mando season 1. So very cool. Very good episode. All right. That's everyone did their 3. So now we're on to our top 2. And Jack, you're going to kickstart us with your second favorite live action Disney Plus show.
So, obviously, if you followed it up to this point, I've got Mandalorian left, season 1 and 2. For me, the Mandalorian, like you said, Jimmy, reignited Star Wars for a lot of people, but it also reinvented the live action genre as well, especially with the use of volume. Season I'm going for is season 1. There wasn't really any bad episodes in season 1.
Okay.
it lived up to its expectation in my head, because not a lot of people, like Brando was saying, knew stuff about Mandalorians. It's still quite a grey area. So for it to do what it did without no expectation, with a little bit of hype, for me, just shows how good of a job Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau actually did, and the entire directors, the cast, everyone.
All right, very strong. Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brandon, your number 2 show.
Number 2, I got Ahsoka. And
all right.
I hope there's no one watching still that is like, these guesses are so bad and all of their takes are bad. But I didn't really watch Rebels too close. I watched it twice all the way through, and there was so many things that I didn't really like about Rebels. I love the characters, but Ahsoka kind of makes me like the Rebels show more. It just seemed like, every episode, something so tragic happened, and then by the end of the story, like almost every episode, unless it was like a little 3-story arc, they were just back on the Ghost and away they go. They're good. Everything's fine. And I didn't really like the World Between Worlds, because I just felt like that threw off George's story kind of to me. Because, it's obviously the Force. There's nothing bigger than that. But that's fine. The Ahsoka show makes me like Rebels a lot more. Like we've discussed already, seeing Hayden again, that was awesome. And I felt like they used the character of Anakin Skywalker in the best way imaginable. Rosario Dawson did a great job. I thought there was some blanks, little blank spaces in that character, but that's just being used to Ashley Eckstein, and that just shows how great of a voice actor she is. But everything in the Ahsoka show, we get the 3/32nd troopers in live action. We get Phase 1 clones. We get to see Rex live action. Hu Yang, everything is basically Rebels and Clone Wars, but live action. And this is the first Star Wars project other than Obi-Wan Kenobi with the Vader scene on Mapuzo that actually had me get the scared goosebumps.
Yeah.
The witches are terrifying. Just the way they act and how they speak, and it echoes, and it's just gross. Like, ugh. Yeah. And the night troopers, and when they came back, I'm like, man, this is just the perfect time of the year for this to be set up, and it's scary. Like, imagine being a lightsaber wielder and you're like, does this happen often? And Ezra's like, yeah, I've never seen that before. But yeah, that show is just awesome, and I got it at number 2.
Very cool. All right, so on my notes, you can see me looking down every once in a while. I have everything lined out, but I have my 1 and my 2 side by side, and I've been waiting and listening to you guys talk about both of these shows. And I'm gonna see which way I go.
Pick one.
So my number 2 show is going to be. This could change either day. We do this tomorrow, it'd be different. It's going to be Andor, and and I absolutely loved Andor. I know some of the things that I like, the slow burn. I like the characters. There were a couple things. The only thing really negative for me was there's not enough aliens. I thought
there
it was
wasn't
kind of
a
weird
lot.
how there's very few aliens, which and I think Taylor, you said it too. It was so different from everything else. I
It's
almost
just
put
so
this in its
mature.
own category.
Yeah.
Yes, and
It's a good way to put it.
and it's very different from Star Wars, and I loved it. But it's also kind of to me like, and we'll probably get hate for this, but like The Last Jedi, I think is a great movie, but not in that trilogy. I want Rian Johnson to do a trilogy away from the Skywalkers. I loved.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that's kind of how I feel about Andor. Like, this is phenomenal. It's leading into Rogue One. Character development was good. Music was kind of weird until it all made sense at the end, where it was all the band and stuff like that.
Oh my God. Yeah.
And then Luthen's
Incredible.
speeches. Those are some of the things I rewatched the most. Just his act. That might be the best acting in all of Star Wars. Is Luthen Rael. I can't think of which Mickelson brother that is. Just absolutely phenomenal acting, I thought, on everyone's part. I didn't really have a lot of negatives. I mean, the only thing is like we know where it's headed, so we know how things are going to get places and stuff. But I loved it. There's some real world stuff that as a history teacher, I want to use this show to teach about revolutions and things like that. But yeah, so for me, I'm going to put Andor at number 2. I really did enjoy it though. So
like right down to it, there was like, I'm pretty sure there was like the first Star Wars sex scene. Not that there was like anything really showing,
like the kissing and stuff. Yeah.
In the it totally like showed
the idea of this was about to happen. Yeah, and like a death in the Andor show is like super sad and serious. Like when Nimit gets like crushed by the whatever's, it's like serious. And then you're watching Mandalorian, and he just shoots someone, and they just fall down like. And it's like woo, and it's like funny almost. You know what I mean? Like the feeling is just so different. It's so different. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like just 100%. The guy, like in the first thing that we see Mando do is chop a guy in half with doors. Like, and we're just like,
but it's not as dramatic. Yeah.
No, right? It's serious.
So
like,
funny.
Yeah. Anyways, it's just the feeling of it. The tone is just different.
Agreed.
But we need different though. So.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, Taylor, what do you got at number 2? Because you're limited now as well. You and Jack.
It's funny how we're all like kind of closing in on the same target. Well, like kind of, I guess. My number 2 is going to be The Mandalorian season 2.
All right.
This is such a good season. It starts off so freaking good. Like, let's just remember, Mandalorian season 2 starts off with the Crate Dragon episode. Right? Like, that was such a good episode. They're like, yeah, we put the Bantha out here, and then he just comes out and he gets the Raider instead. Like, oh my god. Hilarious. And we meet Cobb Vanth. This is also the season that we meet Boba Fett. And what else did we get? We learned Grogu's name because we also meet Ahsoka in season 2 of The Mandalorian. We meet Bo-Katan and her little crew, and they take their helmets off, and it's like, whoa! Like, there's so much happens. And this is also, Mando season 2 is also the one where they take Mayfield, to that Imperial, base, I guess. You know which episode I'm talking about?
Yeah,
and
that's a really good.
And he switches his Mando gear into the Trooper gear instead. And it's like, but you can still like totally tell that it's Mando just by like how he moves his head and stuff. It's so good. And then he like takes his helmet off in front of and then they blow the whole thing up. It's such a good episode. Oh my god, I need to watch that whole series again. Whew. Sorry.
No, that's good.
So good.
Mando season 2.
All right. And all right. So if you've been paying attention and you've been, marking off all your boxes, you'll know what we got left. But Brandon, you're going to start us off. Your number 1 live action Disney Plus show.
Yep, it's up there, and it's my personal favorite. Number 1 is Mando season 2.
All right.
Taylor went ahead and discussed everything. It's not a bad thing. It saves me time from just ranting because I go down wormholes and keep going.
I'm the ranter of the show. So,
but Cobb Vanth, out of all the characters that I have, that's my favorite Funko. I got the one with Boba's helmet on and the Chase with his helmet off. He's a handsome lad in the galaxy far, far away.
Yeah,
love the character. Ahsoka, just to think that Dave was like, hey, this is the opportunity, and this is when I'm going to bring Ahsoka in, and it was executed so great. In the fight she gets with Morgan Elsbeth, there's a lot of weight in that episode. And even going back to the Crate Dragon episode, that was awesome. That's the first time we see another Mandalorian that Din's been looking for, and it's actually wrong. He's wearing Boba Fett's armor. That was just a curveball, and it was executed very well. And Moff Gideon's character, I love Breaking Bad, so Giancarlo Esposito is obviously up there with my favorite actors. So seeing his character getting exposed even more was awesome. And then the OG man himself, from the original trilogies, coming and saving the day at the end. It's
yes. Oh my god.
that. It's you can't go wrong when they show the X-wing coming. You're like, oh, I know who that is.
And the security feed's like black and white, so you can't see.
Oh, yeah, it was awesome.
There was a little bit of doubt, though, right? There's a little bit of doubt. Like every step, you're like, is that?
Like,
and then all of a sudden, it's wow, yeah, it's crazy.
Oh, it's just
that'd be so funny. You see the X-wing, and you're like. That'd be so funny if they showed the X-wing and someone like edits and it shows it's just Carson Teva. He just pulls up in his X-wing, shoots down.
Right. What's up, guys?
Kara's like, oh great, a single X-wing. It's like, dude, there's a Jedi in there.
Yeah, man, it's just so awesome.
Yeah, and Moff Gideon's like terrified when he sees the Jedi. Like he's like, yeah. Sorry.
Oh yeah.
Another deep dive.
He's only heard rumors at that point, He's only heard rumors of Luke Skywalker, and this one guy takes down, the Empire, takes down Emperor Palpatine, well, Vader, but then takes down his father, and it's just
they don't really know what happened up there, so.
The only thing that was weird, looking back at it, is the CGI, just because Book of Boba Fett deepfake on Luke was just insanely amazing. But so when you see that and then look back to Grogu being saved by Luke, you kind of look at him, you're like, oh my god, the deepfake is so bad, but
like,
it aged so well. It aged so well, though.
Well, they went out and they hired the guy who did a better job, and that's why Book of Boba Fett was better, because they went out and they hired the YouTuber or whatever that was making. Yeah, it's crazy. So good on Disney for going out and doing that. All right.
No shame.
Yeah. So my number one, number two. My number one is Ahsoka. Maybe it's because we just finished it and it's like the freshest in my mind. And I spent the most time on these two, kind of dissecting them. I loved so much about them. There were some holes. There's some things I'm kind of like, what? But this felt the most Star Wars to me. Mm-hmm. And I love seeing multiple Jedi again for like the first time. Like, I'm not sure. I mean, what Attack of the Clones might be the most Jedi we've seen live action. So I love that at the end. The whole New Worlds, I think, opening up the galaxy, tying everything together. I like how it brings Rebels and it's going to bring live action, Star Wars all together. I loved it. There's some minor issues. The music is phenomenal. I listen to the music from this show more than anything else when I'm doing work. When I'm, grading and I'm doing other things or stuff for this show, I usually have that on in the background. I do agree with a lot of what you guys said, though. There are some things that kind of nitpicky, but all the shows have something. But Ahsoka's arc, she was grumpy and didn't really care for her at first, but then she kind of, she has her thing with Anakin, and she comes back and she's more of the snips that we know and we love. And we'll see how that goes. But yeah, for me, there's just so much I liked about it. And again, too, it could be because it's just fresh. Come back in a year and ask me. Who knows? But I really did love it. The ships, Thrawn being back, Night Sisters. There was just so much. And I kind of, Jack, and that's where it's funny. It's like, I like, okay, what's coming next, And obviously, Baylan, I'd be hard-pressed not to, my man crush Baylan Skull. Just how he... one of the coolest Jedi I've ever seen on screen. This is one-word answers and just straight-up truth. But and I'm super excited to see. I'm sad that Rey won't be with us to finish out that character's arc, but hopefully they'll come up with a way to finish where that's going to go. They don't just abandon it. I think that would be disrespectful to Rey, in my opinion. I know people think, well, they should kill him off so that it's whatever. But I loved Ahsoka. I can't really. I don't think it was perfect, but I really loved it. For me, it's the most rewatchable show from start to finish. I'll go back and I'll chunk out shows from all these other shows that we just talked about, all these different seasons, and I'll watch different things. But this one I will rewatch from beginning to end, probably multiple times over the years.
Yeah.
So that's my number one. So Taylor, your number one.
My number one is Mandalorian Season 1. Because I just honestly believe that The Mandalorian is just, I don't know, I don't want to say it's the best live action, but it as a whole, it makes it first place. Industrial Light and Magic created the stagecraft technology for the series, like this 360 video wall set, instead of having to build these sets, and the actors can see them, can see what's going on around them, and it's, I mean, I don't know, just they've rounded it off. They made even the cutest character ever to get the merchandise from and the money from it. And it's like, it's a space western, so it's kind of like familiar to us already. You don't have to have watched any Star Wars or even really know what's going on in the Star Wars galaxy to start watching The Mandalorian. And this is like, it's almost like, I want to say clickbait, but not really, because it's like, oh, you want to watch this show? It's nothing really to do with Star Wars, but it is Star Wars, but you can watch it. And then you watch it and you have to keep watching the seasons. And then it reels you in with Boba Fett and all these behind the scenes Easter eggs. And then these people are reading the comics because they know who this character is from The Mandalorian. And I just think that it's a trailblazer. It's a pioneer. It cleared the way for all the other live action shows that we have been talking about today. And without The Mandalorian season
I better
one,
go. Hurry up.
then okay, I'm so sorry. I don't know if we're ignoring this. Jack's getting a hurricane warning. What does that? Get down into the ground or what?
We'll get to shelter.
All right, Jack, give us your number one
I'm
real
gonna
quick,
make
then
this
you're going to
short.
go.
Okay, yeah, I'm done with mine.
Brilliant.
Anyways.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah,
As he's running into the shelter.
Mando season 2. Reason being that there's not a greater comeback than The Rock at WrestleMania, and Luke Skywalker did it. And I'm going to end it on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Jack, go get safe,
guys.
Jack. Okay, so we are back from that. First of all, we just want to hope, and we'll keep you guys up to date with Jack. We'll communicate with him, and we'll I mean, it'll be Tuesday by the time this comes out, but that's a little scary. He's going through a hurricane, but that's how dedicated he is to you, listeners. He's outside in a hurricane, doing his bit. But first, I was going to go over our how it ranked out for us. So as we were going through here, I was writing down everyone's score, where they placed them 1 through 7, and just to see how we mapped them out.
Awesome.
So I'm going to go ahead and read those off now. And then at the end, after we sign off, we will have Hank the Tanks. He's going to come on for about 10, 11 minutes. He's going to chat with me about his stuff. So this kid is awesome.
He's amazing.
Listen to him. And then
he's making all these awesome predictions.
Yeah. And then we have a few listeners that will talk through some of their stuff as well. But so tied for 6th place. Tied for 6th as Mando Season 3 in the Book of Boba Fett, and they both had 25 points.
Oh.
So there was that. Yeah. 5th place, Kenobi, and that's funny because we had it 4th, 5th, so that makes sense.
Yeah.
Ended up with 18 points. 4th place was Andor. 3rd place was Ahsoka. 2nd place, Mando Season 1. And our winner from our scores alone would make Mando Season 2 the number 1 show, which I think that's pretty cool because you guys all had it. Taylor had it 2nd, Jack and Brandon both had it ranked 1st. I had it in my top 4. Like I said, they could flip flop anyway for me, and it came in with a 8 point. It beat Mando Season 1 by 1 point. And that beat Ahsoka by 2 points. So, those top 3 are really, really close. It was 8, 9, and 10 points to separate them. So that was pretty cool. But you guys, let us know what you think. How would you rank these? You can hit us up on all the socials. We're at exploretheforce@gmail.com. You can email us. We're on all the social medias at Explore the Force. And, of course, we want to thank Brandon for coming on again. He's basically a part-time host for us now. Brandon, tell all of our listeners and our viewers where they can find you on your own separate channel. He's actually, he is his own guy. So Tell us about it.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. This has been an awesome 3-4 times now, and I always look forward to coming on the show. So I appreciate you guys. But yeah, you guys can find me at Clan Brandalorian on YouTube. That's what I do mainly. I do top 5 videos, go over some Funko, Legos, kind of got to discuss the addiction, the collection behind me, give it even more worth. But also some lore and theory videos as well. And actually, I'm on TikTok, Instagram, and sometimes Twitter, and that's all Clan Brandalorian as well, or Brandalorian66. So it's always one of the two. But if you look at my YouTube channel, everything's on there, so you won't get lost. So, yeah.
All right. Well, again, check him out. He has, like you said, that little bit of news he gave us. He has a lot, a 3-minute clip on there. This, it's quick and it's fast, which I think people like.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go for an hour and a half like we just did.
Yeah.
But I think that'll be all for us. Like I said. So Taylor, do you want to take us out?
Well, this one's for Jack. Jack, the Force is with you.
Let's hope so. Brandon.
Oh man, what's a good one? I've been tracking you, Mandalorian.
Oh.
All right. Very good.
Give me some boba.
There you go. And then for all of us, we have spoken. Thanks everybody.
See you next week.
Yeah, later guys.
Hey guys, it's me, Jimmy the Jedi, coming to you again. Just a quick update. This is about a day later. Jack is okay. He did have some hurricane weather, and he had to get out. So his number one got cut short. You'll hear it. I mean, you heard it. So what we're going to do right now, what I'm going to do right now, I guess, is I'm going to talk. We had 2 people write stuff in, and they had the really great answers, and we thought we would just tack this on to the end. So we have our friends and listeners, Tana and Luke Summerfield, and my little Padawan Hank. So I'm going to read the first 2, and then I'll play Hank's for y'all, and then we'll close up this episode. And again, like we said in our closing, let us know what you think. We want to know. This show is about you guys. We want to know what you think. But Tana, so her number 5. So she starts out with number 5, and it was Book of Boba Fett. And I just felt that the best episodes were the ones with Mando in them. Not sure what this Boba Fett was trying to tell. I wonder if it's setting something else up, more seasons maybe. Mando season 3, kind of, it's typical of what we've said so far. She did have Ahsoka at number 3 for her. So, and this would be her number 3. This was hard to rank at 3 because it was really tied for 2, but I had to choose. I like it a lot because we got Jedi, and to me, Star Wars is quite synonymous with Jedi. Plus, I love seeing the stories of Rebels continued. I think we all agreed with that. Ahsoka was pretty high for most of us. She says, Mando season 1 and 2. I love season 1 because it was a new story. If I can't be a Jedi, I want to be a Mandalorian, she says. And then, of course, the second season just continued that story, and it felt very congruent with each other. So that was pretty cool. She has number 2, Obi-Wan. She loves seeing Leia as a child. I thought they wrote her perfectly, and I thought that they perfectly caught the relationship Senator Organa would have with his adopted daughter. I love the story of Obi-Wan being part of Leia's life, too. I thought the end where Obi-Wan tells Leia how she's like both her mother and father was so well delivered, it brought tears in my eyes. And I think that is one of the best things in Star Wars, kind of up there with Kylo and Han Solo in The Rise of Skywalker, just one of those heart-wrenching moments. And then she has number 1, has to be Andor. I absolutely love this series. I think part of the reason it was so good was because there were almost no expectations regarding the character. The only thing we knew of Andor was what we learned in Rogue One. And so he had a story to tell that helps us understand his journey to when he makes the ultimate sacrifice for the rebel cause. I love learning more about Mon Mothma, and I'm not going to lie, her costumes were absolutely stunning and divine. I thought the costuming for her was out of this world. I felt the series told the story the best of all the series so far. It really developed characters, backgrounds, and a woven intriguing tale. This is by far my favorite of all Disney Plus shows. Yeah, it was hard for me to put it number 2. So Tana, I get that as well. And then I love this statement from Tana. She says, I know I'm no professional film critic. None of us are. But from the perspective of the average fan, these are things that stood out to me. Some shows were better than others, but I never felt that I wasted my time watching any of them. I also tried to damper my expectations a bit because I know that nothing can ever really match what I have in my mind or what I expect. It's just not possible to meet every expectation. However, I can enjoy them simply because they expand and extend the universe that I have loved since I was 6 years old. So that was really awesome. Really great to hear. And, looks like a lot of her stuff and my stuff kind of lined up. So that was Tana. So thanks for sending that stuff to me, Tana. I really appreciate it. Next, we have all the way from Wales, we have Luke Sommerfeld. He's got them ranked. Number 7, Mando Season 3. Number 6, Andor. 5, Kenobi. 4, Book of Boba Fett. Number 3, Mando Season 1. Number 2, Ahsoka. And number 1, Mando Season 2. So a lot like what Jack Taylor and the Brandalorian had. And then I said, because I know we had talked with Luke, social media and stuff like that, and I asked him, why. I said Andor low because the kids didn't enjoy it. Why is Mando Season your number 1? Is the questions I asked him when he sent us this. And I said, he goes, Andor has some epic moments and stunning locations, but overall, it lacked the Star Wars feel. Don't hate it, just don't love it. My kids were not into it, didn't help. Star Wars is about family. Absolutely, Luke, absolutely. And then, for Mando Season 2, his number 1, took Din's character development to another level, #Brown Eyes, which was thrown away with Season 3, in my opinion. So, yeah, a lot of people feel that way, I think. There's a massive disconnect from Season 1 and 2 of Mando that seem to kind of be fluid, and then the Season 3, and we'll never know why that is, if some of that stuff was supposed to be Rangers of the New Republic or whatever, but hopefully they'll rebound. 3 will feel like part of 4, and we'll be able to move forward. And next, it is my absolute pleasure to bring Hank on again. And so here is Hank the Tank and I talking. All right. So, hey, we're joined by the one and only Hank the Tank again. Hank, people enjoy your takes on stuff, and they want to hear what you have to say about the live-action Disney shows. So are you ready to rank them from worst to first? All right, cool. Let's just jump right out of the gate. And what is your number 7 show?
The Book of Boba Fett.
Book of Boba Fett. Why is it at the bottom for you, buddy?
Oh, I feel like the last couple episodes, The Mandalorian, were good, but the other ones, it was just pretty much him sitting in a bacta tank and trying to escape the Tusken Raiders, which I thought was kind of boring. And I think they could have made it a lot better.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. What was your favorite thing about it? Did you have something that you liked about it?
Probably The Mandalorian. The
Mandalorian
5.
episodes?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one, huh? What about the Rancor when he comes riding in on the Rancor? You thought that was pretty cool? Or no?
Yeah, I thought that was cool.
All right. So Book of Boba Fett at the bottom. All right, here we go. Number 6.
Andor.
Oh, man. How come?
Well, the first time I watched it, I didn't really watch all of it. I skipped some parts, so I went back and watched it again. I never really liked it that much.
What about it? Do you think it was too Because some
Slow
people
and
complain
boring.
that it's slow and boring.
Yeah.
Yeah. I see some people complain about that. They said that a lot of people like to watch Star Wars with their families, and it wasn't really a family show. It was more of like an adult kind of show. Would you think that?
I don't know. I just didn't really like it.
You just didn't like it. Was there anything about Andor that you did like? Was there anything that you're like, oh, that was pretty cool? Or...
I liked the episode where they have to try to rob that Imperial payroll.
Oh yeah, the special effects on that were pretty sick, weren't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a pretty good episode. All right, well, that's pretty fair because a lot of people think that way. We're gonna later on. We're gonna interview some other people on that have other podcasts and things like that. So we're curious to see how they rank it. But all right, so then number 5. What do you got for us?
Mandalorian season 3.
Mando season 3. Why?
Well, I really liked it, but I just think 1 and 2 were a lot better than it. And
Okay.
I did
Those.
see. I wish they would have shown Thrawn at the end, but that's only that. I
Okay,
liked
Shotron.
I thought Bo-Katan was gonna be a villain, but it was Moff Gideon again.
Yeah. Did you want Bo-Katan to be the villain?
Yeah, kind of. Mandalorian fighting another Mandalorian sounds kind of cool.
It does sound kind of cool. All right. Was there anything that you really liked about it? Was there any episodes that like stand out to you, or
Yeah, the one that Paz Vizsla dies.
the one where they chase
I,
that? That's the ending, right? The
yeah,
finale.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I think.
Would you? Yeah, I think that's the finale because he's out there fighting and he gets the
Yeah.
Praetorian guards get him, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was either the finale or the one right before it. Very
Mm-hmm.
good. All right, well, that's fair. Okay, so we're about to hit the halfway point here. So, what is your middle of the road live action Disney Plus TV show? What's number 4 for you?
Mandalorian season 1.
Mando season 1. Man,
Mm-hmm.
you're surprising me with these. Okay, so it was a little bit better than season 3.
Yeah.
What did you like about it first, and then we'll go to what you didn't like about it, or why it's in your 4th
Well,
spot.
I liked like the introduction to Grogu and the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watched it, it was before I really like got into Star Wars, and I didn't
Yeah.
enjoy it as much. So
Okay. Do you think if you went back and watched it all, like you binged it now that you're all done with football, you said, and you're waiting for wrestling season to start. So if you sat down right now with your dad and your brother and you watched all the episodes, you think you would enjoy it a little bit more now that you're
yeah,
like really into Star Wars? Yeah.
I
All
think it
right.
would.
Very cool. All right. Well, maybe when I come home for Christmas, you and I'll sit down and watch a few episodes. How's that
Mm-hmm.
sound? We
Okay.
can see if all right. Well, okay. You kind of surprised me by those ones, my man. What about your number 3?
What, is it 3 more? I thought it was just Ahsoka and Mandalorian season 2.
You have, hang on, one. So you have Ahsoka, Mando season 2, and Kenobi.
Oh, I would rank Kenobi between 3 and Mandalorian season 3 and 1.
Okay, so
I
we'll
think.
put Mando season 1 at number 3,
Mm-hmm.
Kenobi at 4. So all right, so you thought Kenobi kind of fell in between those two.
Yeah,
What
I
did
don't think
what did you? Go ahead.
I don't think Kenobi was terrible. Think they could have made it a lot better, but I did enjoy
What
watching it.
you did enjoy watching it. You thought it
Mhm.
could be a lot better. Do you have any like? What did you want? Is there something specific you wanted to see, or you just thought they could do more with the characters?
Well, I think in the Kenobi they could have showed some of the Jedi that survived Order 66.
Okay.
They didn't show many of those.
No, they definitely didn't. I kept thinking Cal Kestis was going to show up or something.
Yeah.
What about the Quinlan Voss name drop? Do you think we'll see him down the road?
Hopefully.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought he was going to be in
Um,
Kenobi.
yeah, I kind of did too. What did you think about Darth Vader in that series? Did you like Hayden Christensen coming back and being Darth Vader?
Yeah,
Okay.
I did.
All right. So right now, I'm just going to remind our listeners and our viewers. Number 7, you have Book of Boba Fett. Number 6, you have Andor. Number 5, Mando season 3. Number 4, Kenobi. And then in your 3 spot, you have Mando season 1. So now we're down to your final 2. Was this a tough decision? Don't tell us which one it is yet. Was this a tough decision for you?
No, not really. I knew which one I was going to
No,
pick.
not really. Oh, wow. Okay. So, what is your runner-up for best Disney TV show for number 2?
Ahsoka.
Ahsoka. I wondered. I was kind of curious. All right. What about Ahsoka did you like that made it all the way up to number 2?
Well, I like seeing Thrawn. I really enjoyed Rebels, so seeing Ezra and Sabine and all of them was cool.
Okay. Yeah. What about the
I
Night
like,
Sisters? How'd you
yeah, I thought the Night Sisters were cool too. Like the
the
Great
Night
Mothers, or
Sisters?
rather.
Yeah. What were you just about to say?
I thought Balin School had a really good character. I'm surprised they
Yeah.
didn't kill his character because the actor died.
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens. Do you think we just did a big show on that breakdown? Do you think that what do you think Balin was looking for? Do you think it was the Mortis gods, like
Yeah,
the
I do.
father and the son and the daughter? Okay.
Yeah.
But you liked Balin. He was one of my favorites. And you said you're a huge Rebels fan, right? That's kind of like your favorite Star Wars is Rebels.
Yeah.
All right, that makes total sense. But you're pretty happy with all 8 episodes?
Yeah.
All right, cool. Are you excited for possibly having a season 2?
Yeah, I think so. I think
Okay.
it's
Did
mainly
you?
going to be about Ahsoka getting back for the Mandalorian
Okay.
movie.
All right. Okay. Well, that takes us to your number 1 spot, which makes it Mando season 2, right?
Yes. Mhm.
Mando season 2. Now tell all of us what you loved about Mando season 2.
I like to see him get the dog saber. The Ahsoka episode's really cool. You got to learn Baby Grogu's name,
Yeah.
and um, he got that new super fast ship, which I thought was cool.
Yeah, that Naboo starfighter.
Yeah.
Okay. Did you like the Ahsoka episode? That was season 2, right? They all kind of blur together for me
Yeah.
sometimes. All right. So you
The
like
Ahsoka.
that? All right. So would you prefer a Mando season 4 or an Ahsoka season 2? Which one would you rather see first?
Ahsoka season 2, because I think the Mandalorian movie would be uh based on the Mandalorian more than anybody else, and
Okay.
I think that's gonna be like the end of his story.
All right.
So
Very cool.
I like to see Ahsoka.
Um, all right. Very cool. Have you heard rumors that Skeleton Crew is going to be how like Ahsoka and all them get back to their galaxy? Have you heard any of those rumors?
No, I haven't.
No. Have you heard about Skeleton Crew, the show?
No.
No. Okay. Um, so the idea of it's going to be that there's a bunch of kids lost in space, and an actor named Jude Law. I don't know if you'll know who that is, but he's supposed to be like their teacher, and he might be a Jedi as well. And they're going to try to like they said they're lost in their galaxy, so you might want to. I know you like to research stuff, so you should check that out and tell me. Well, maybe we'll come back and you can tell me what you think of um, the idea behind Skeleton Crew. So very
Hmm.
cool. All right. Um, well, Hank, I appreciate you taking the time to meet with us. Do you have anything else you want to say about the shows or anything like that?
No.
No? All right. Well, guess what, man? I'll be home in about a month to see you. Well,
Okay.
yeah, about a month or so. Month and a half,
Alright.
maybe. We'll
Hmm.
watch some Star Wars.
Yeah.
Sounds good, brother. I appreciate you.
Okay.
Thanks, buddy.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
All right. Well, there's Hank the Tank. Always entertaining. Pretty impressive for a 5th grader. I email him the links. He gets in his email. He opens up his email. Jumps on his cell phone and plugs in. I think it's incredible that when you think about where we were in 5th grade. But yeah, it's always awesome to get to hear Hank's takes. And I just want to thank everybody for sticking around. It was a long episode, but we had a lot to talk about. And we'll see you guys next week. And for everyone on the show, we have spoken.